Okay. So, hi everyone. My
Hi.
name is Gabby Paez, and I am a sophomore in Team 125.
And my name is Freddie Lars Amaya. I'm a mentor in Team Neutrons 125.
And today we're going to talk to you about teen outreach. Basically, outreach is just reaching out to others and becoming involved in your community. Basically, it's really important for your team to be known in your community, whether it's the mayor or the senates in your state, or just trying to get that out, especially in government, or just try to get demos or to get sponsors. Um, this also develops traits for students as like, I know I developed some more confidence in myself since I can talk more to people. Like in middle school, I used to be so shy, I wouldn't be able to even present. So it's actually been developing in myself to be able to talk. And it also gives practice for public speaking, which is very helpful for students, as in when they go into interviews for college or when they have to talk to judges and other stuff.
There's many different ways to have an outreach, and most of them should be like STEM based because it's first and it's STEM for everyone after all. And there's also other things like you can volunteer for stuff to get your name out there. So it's like, oh, Neutrons did stuff like that.
I know some of our mentors actually volunteer during events for competitions or just trying to host fun little events like Beats on Books. And when you're at a demo, your people basically have to be like this. Especially little kids with our robots, they get super excited. You have no idea, especially when we're videotaping them and the non-tech team or media takes pictures of them, they go crazy. I know in Hub Week, there was, what's the Green Monster? No, not the Green Monster. The Bruins mascot, I forget his name. But he was there and he was like big teasing of it and then giving high fives to little kids, and it was really cool. So STEM-based outreach is an essential part of taking skills and knowledge of your experience into FSC you're giving and educate and inspires others. As in minorities or women especially, since there's not that many of us in STEM or in those fields, it's really helpful to inspire people to get involved since technology and everything is in the future. STEMs are a perfect recruitment opportunity for new students, mentors, or just to get more outreach, to get your name out there. And I can't stress enough how much that is important for people to know who you are, and especially just to give out first.
It's also a great potential to get a sponsorship. So it's like you see other companies coming around. It's a great opportunity to mention about your team, your robot, and everything like that.
Tips I would suggest you do is bringing your robot, obviously, to these demos, bringing spare parts, making sure that if you have a media team or just have someone designated to take pictures, just have documentation of everything, and it will really help. So whether you are demonstrating your robot or helping in your community, as in helping out in the beach, cleaning up beaches, or just trying to show people that you're there. Just because you're there, it just makes it awesome. So you also got to show your community that your team is essential. Like Christine said before in one of the other presentations, some high schools don't really prioritize robotics teams and don't really consider them a team because they're not actually a physical sport. To help out with your maybe funds or maybe getting the schools more involved, getting more students, you have to show your community and just your district area that your team matters and that you strive for getting better awards, strive to just become better, and show your students that just progress is something you should strive for, especially for college, preparing for essays for college, interviews, as I said before.
You talked about the walk that we just did.
Oh yeah, I remember last year I would say like, well, we should do a walk as a team. Or like, because I also mentioned that we wanted to do Walk for Hunger last year, because I think that's really important, especially since I am Hispanic. My mom and dad came from El Salvador. So typically in Central America, things aren't really going great and there's a lot of poverty. So I feel like Walk for Hunger is a thing that I want our team to do. And we also did mental health. And that's also something I think in our team is really important. And I think we were coming up with a project that I'm sure Caitlin and Tati have been working on to try and to get like safe spaces into teams and competitions. And the walk was Out of the Darkness walk, and it was to support families or people who are going through hard times, who recently lost someone, who are going through troubles themselves, and like just to know that they're not alone. And it was personally was a really impactful day for me because I would see people around there with like shirts of like their children that they've recently lost, and I feel like it would to show people that mental health is very important and that it's just as important as your physical health. Hashtags. So I know Christine likes using a lot of hashtags, especially with pictures and stuff, especially on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I know our team has a Snapchat, and I think just having the most social media and making people know that you're there and that you're getting things out.
So one thing that social media is great because it's a remote way of doing outreach. So getting your team and your community kind of out there for Any First. So I run the social media stuff for Any First, and one thing we tried to do was create a hashtag that would be specific to our district that we could kind of spread everywhere. So our We Are Any was our kind of hashtag to represent our district. A lot of teams have their own hashtags, but social media is a really quick, simple, easy, remote. Like you can do it from bed, you can do it, halfway across the world. But it's a great way to get your team known within the first community and even in your own community. Stacy Gray, who's the senior mentor for Connecticut, her team volunteers at the local dog shelter, which I'm kind of jealous of. Would love to do that. So they volunteer there, and anything that her team will post on Facebook, the dog shelter will share on their Facebook because of the relationship that they have through a community outreach. So connecting with your sponsors is another thing you can do on social media. It's a really easy way to show gratification for maybe your school district. My high school team, we used to tag our school district in all of our posts once that actually became a thing. So old. But that's like one easy way to kind of get on somebody's radar is tagging your sponsors, tagging your schools.
It just demonstrates that you are just not about robots, especially when you're doing non-technical like a walk or just going to like help at a homeless shelter or going to go see veterans or something like that. It shows that you're just not a robot, you're more than that. You try to give out to the community as much as you can.
It's also a great way to like store like you have a history of whatever you guys done. So if you put your hashtag on social media, it shows you the thread of like all the stuff that has oh my god robots. It's a great way to like other people look at what you've done in the past.
And for teams just to connect to one another, as in like all around the world, especially since social media is just not one place, it's just everywhere. Especially how we connect with the team in Australia.
Another thing that we do it's not necessarily social media, but it's kind of using the internet as outreach. We use a website called Bonfire Funds to sell t-shirts, not only to our own team, but to other people. And we get a cut of the profit with zero work besides designing the shirt. So using websites where you can create like products and then advertising that online, we've gotten people from all around the world to like buy our shirts and spreading that in the community. So the internet is a great, powerful tool, and learning different ways to use it to your benefit is always a great thing.
Especially for fundraising. I know you use Bonfire to get money for the Out of Darkness walk, and that really helped out with fundraising and everything. Like I said, spreading the word out to your community, letting your community know that you're a part of it and that you are just important as any physical sport or any clubs in your district or schools. And if you're from multiple schools, for all the schools to know that about it. And like I said, having all social media, as in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, what is it? Tumblr? I don't know how you would use that, but like Tumblr.
How many people have a Facebook page for their team here? Cool. That seems to be the easiest way for people to find information about your team. Easier than a website, because most people are on Facebook and they'll look up like, oh, the Highlanders team 6201. And if it doesn't pop up, it's like, well, why not? So starting with a Facebook page and then branching off from there, like to Twitter and to Instagram, is such an easy way to just get people to be able to get information about what you're doing, especially in your community members. So most public school systems have Facebook pages now, which is kind of weird, but you can, I hate that you're taking pictures right now. You can easily connect with your school system there, and it's a great way for them to kind of share what you're doing really quickly. So if you don't have a Facebook page, which it seems like most of you do, make sure you do, and make sure you're updating it pretty frequently with pictures and stuff. It's a really great way to engage your school system and your community. I'm gonna take my camera back.
You can also get funding and stuff on Facebook as well. Help with other organizations and stuff, especially since even teammates, even themselves, they can post about their team and share things to get it more spread out. Wait. Okay, this is like I said, it's like getting your name out on social media. And like I said,
students become mentors.
Yep. He was taking pictures, probably gonna start posting on our Facebook and helping in our presentations or in the chairman's video as well, just keeping a documentation of everything you've done, whether it's pictures, having records of who came to your events, like the one we're hosting today, just any of that.
Hashtag oh my god robots.
So yeah, get your team on social media and connect with us and others. It's totally tweet about it for real. Okay. So newsletters.
So creating newsletters is a great way to like give out information. So if parents are like concerned about their students, what are they doing in like a robotics team, you can put out a newsletter and like anybody can see this information. And it's a great way to like show that there's something kids are doing there. So they're there for a reason. They're doing something, and it's
Yeah.
For your newsletter, would you recommend making like an email list, or just have it be like a link that you're constantly updating on your social media or your website?
I would say both.
Yeah.
We're still trying to nail down like a good website host thing that'll automatically blast out emails. Like I know for any first we use Constant Contact, but I think we pay for it. But there's other websites where you can kind of aggregate groups of people and send it out. But having like a link that you can post or like a PDF somewhere that you can blast online is really good. So newsletters, although they are like kind of an ancient thing now that social media is so great, when I was in high school, our superintendent could care less about the team. So when the new superintendent rolled around, I was like, sweet, new opportunity to maybe get them to like us. So we started doing a weekly, it was called like the Weekly Buzz. So I was on 175 and that was like our thing. And we would use that and post it on Twitter and tag Enfield Public Schools in it. And finally, the superintendent started reading them. He showed up to our meetings. He actually started caring. So something as simple as a newsletter that got tweeted and then eventually started getting emailed out from the superintendent to every employee at Enfield Public Schools. So getting a really simple newsletter, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's every week if you have somebody that's crazy and dedicated enough, but getting something that's simple that can be attached to an email and sent out, or just posted online is really great. But getting them to send it to everybody in the entire public school system was great. Even if only, half of them opened it, it still got to them. So
yeah. It also helps out with students when there is an out of the district event that the team has to go to, especially when discussing with the superintendent or just the school in general to get those days excused off students or to get that work done over there so they could attend the competition is a big help. And press release, just like in local papers and stuff like that. It also probably will get released in local papers, as in if you get into demos, into things that are like an outlet, as in like Hub Week like we did, and just having success throughout your season.
Flyers. So flyers are a great way to like recruit new potential students, since we are like affiliated with so many high schools. So it's like we're open, so any high school can join us. So flyers are great ways to like tell people, oh, there's a robotics team, they can join. It's also another way, a great way to get sponsorships. So like, oh, it's a local robotics team. Companies can see that. They'll be like, oh, there's a potential to give them something there.
Presentations in schools as well, when you're trying to recruit new students or just to get teachers involved or the school involved, having a presentation during like school hours, taking a little bit of time and talking like, so this is our team, this is what we do. If you want to come down and learn about robots or anything with STEM, come down to wherever your home base is, and just to get more people recruited.
Creating flyers that are specific for different things is really important too. So we kind of scrambled to do this last minute this summer. Elizabeth Warren was hosting a town hall meeting at Berger High School. So we were like, oh my gosh, we need to go. And we need to make sure that we have the correct one-page document that will describe our team, and describe what help we need from them. So it was kind of crazy to do in like less than 24 hours notice. But if you can create one that's specific for like community demos, so what is first? How can you get involved? One that's specific about your team for like team recruitment, that's really helpful. And then one that's like specific to both your team and First is really great too. We created, so we realized that any First didn't have any First specific handouts. It was all like on the First website for the entire First program. And the font was like 6-point, and anytime you printed it, it would not fit on the page. And if it did fit on the page, you'd need a microscope to read it. So we created, it's on our team website, I think I can pull it up later, but we created a flyer for teams to use in any First that says like, what is any First, how many students are involved, how many programs are there, who can you contact to get more information? Because it's pretty useless to hand somebody a flyer that's like the entire First program overview. You want something that's really specific, so they can look at it and say like, oh yeah, like Team 1073, I met them last weekend, and here's their contact information, and here's like a photo of their students working with elementary school students. So making something that's really encapsulate you as a team, rather than something that's like too overwhelming for the situation that you're in, is pretty important.
Any other questions or concerns?
Does anybody have any like things that their team has done or seen that they think works best for them when it comes to like flyers or anything? Yeah.
Last year, we had our kids on the non-technical side doing a weekly newsletter that went to all our sponsors. Where are we in build season?
Brilliant.
And it was a brief report from each of the subgroups. Here's what electrical is doing, here's what pneumatics is doing, here's what build is doing, here's what spirit is doing. And so it was driven by the kids, where they actually produced this newsletter and then blasted it to our sponsors so that they would know, hey, this is what you're supporting, this is kind of where your funds are going, and this is where we're at within the build season.
That's awesome.
And we got positive feedback from our sponsors that they liked knowing what the kids were doing and where we were in the process. So our kids would go to all the different subgroup meetings and take pictures and like interview the kids on the subgroup team, like, okay, what'd you do this week? And some weeks subgroups weren't included in the newsletter because they had an off week.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good idea for like sponsors and even parents. I know for us, like our parents aren't really actively engaged in the team. They kind of just let their kids show up, but something like that would at least be like, this is what your child's doing with the adults that you've left them with. So
it's a good idea for all teams.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of them parents either, so.
So I saw your hand up.
What really helped for us was getting like booths at like town fairs and stuff, and having separate information sheets for parents, students, mentors, possible sponsors.
Yeah, I think we've tried to do that. It's just like since we come from so many schools, it's so hard. So
that's a great recruitment.
Yeah, so that's good. Oh.
Oh yeah, that's Dean Kim getting hit in the face with the basketball in 2010. He wasn't wearing safety glasses either. Although I don't think that would have helped the cause at that point.
And additional resources is on this link. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I think the new, all of the workshops from last year are up on the first YouTube too, but there's some good outreach ones in there.
So, this class and how that we're in Thursday.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
The other thing we wanted to mention was when we were at New England last year, our kids created and we paid for a Snapchat filter
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
for New England
yes.
for the district championship.
That's
So
awesome.
the kids actually, we told them we had to approve it. They wanted to do it. They came up with designs and logos, submitted them to us, and we actually purchased one that could be used by anybody at the district
That's
championships.
awesome. Yeah.
I remember we
I have no clue how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we started-
and say, okay, go.
We started doing that at events we went to too, and then I started making them for any first. It's interesting because some are like dirt cheap, like high school might only be like $2 to run for the entire day, but at I think it was UNH at District Champs was like for the weekend it would have been like $100, but
It was not inexpensive.
yeah, but it's worth it because any person that has their Snapchat open is gonna see your team name and like number and whatever else you put up there. I think you can do that on Facebook now too. It's a little more complicated, but it's like on an event, so.
Oh, really? Yeah. Facebook likes copying off Snapchat, just like Instagram.
It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
The other thing I learned pretty quick is
Uh-huh.
we've made the mistake a few times. Anytime a robot goes anywhere, a pile of flyers should go with it, even if it's just the general team info ones.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten places that weren't intended to be outreach things,
Mm-hmm.
but we were there and like either in t-shirts or had something, and then we're like, shit, we don't
Yeah.
have any flyers.
Yeah.
We went to a trunk or treat, which is like trick or treat out of cars, and we brought our last year's robot because it has LEDs on it,
Uh-huh.
and his name is Stanley. And we had 200, we ran out of candy. We had 200 kids come, so we had the trunk all that, we had my van opened up, and we had all lights and everything in it. And then Stanley was next to the car, so we would say to the kids, would you like to meet our robot Stanley? And, which was really cool, because all the little kids wanted to come play with him. We didn't have one flyer with us, and parents were like, when are you doing what? And we were like, and we're actually hosting a Lego League tournament in a couple of weeks, and we were telling all these parents about the Lego League tournament, and going, shit, we should have brought somebody with us.
Until we the Google or Facebook us.
Yeah. Business cards are good for that too. Like Vistaprint, you can get about 500 business cards for like $20. So we made one that has our contact info, and then on the back it says what is first, what are the neutrons, and like where to find both. Like just to have that, because sometimes flyers are like, you don't remember them or whatever. But we're starting to do like a demo kit, trying to be a little more organized. Like grab this box
Grab it.
and take it with you. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in demos and stuff, people love those cards.
Mhm.
We ran out at Hub
We
Week.
bring a button along. One of our best investments was we got a button maker. So our Spirit team actually makes all our buttons, which is cool because it gives them something to do. We can also make game-specific buttons. But if we're going out to an elementary school or something, we will make buttons, and the kids
Yeah.
love them. Just don't throw them at the parades; they open up.
Yeah.
Thanks to Napa.
What would you guys suggest is like your most memorable demo? Like, this has been like the best demo. I know you've mentioned like Halloween ones, but.
Parade. We drove our robot to the parade, but we destroyed the wheels.
That's a lot of driving for a robot on tart.
Weren't we on a parade?
We do it for the Eastern States Exposition at BE, and we put it on a trailer.
Yeah.
That's what we put it on a trailer, and then like, the balls get thrown out and the crowd loves it because the kids walk and throw it back to us and stuff. So it's really kind of cool on that. Just the wheels look at wheels.
We only drove it on the asphalt one, and then we very quickly went to
A truck.
flatbed trailer.
We did like a similar Halloween thing as you guys last weekend, and we gave like all these kids little like butterfly nets, and we shot out Tootsie Rolls, and so you like had like 20
that's
Tootsie
so
Rolls
cool.
fly out at once, and then they're all like, trying to get
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, kids are really excited over this stuff.
Flying objects, that's the key.
Flying objects.
Our kids want to try to build a parade robot that will have ATV wheels that would have candy, so we'll go over to kids and then dump candy on the ground and drop them.
Oh, nice.
Because in our parade in our local town, you're allowed to throw candy.
Nice. That's a rarity.
We ever had one.
Our one goal that we've come up with, and I really hope this happens. We wanted to take our frisbee shooting robot from 2013
Oh, yeah.
and partner with like the Somerville Dog Festival or the MSPCA. We want to like bridge our gap for the love of animals and our robot expertise.
Yeah, our team really.
A day of frisbee tricks with dogs.
Especially.
I feel like I could quit first happily if that like, done my job. We've helped
Yeah.
animals and students.
It was a big talk. Oh, no. Relax.
I'm gonna stop our live broadcast.
Thank you.
Yay.